My mom is a white tiger and my dad is also a white tiger, but I turned out to be a black tiger. My dad was furious. He went crazy. He hung my mom up and whipped her for 3 days and 3 nights. Then he beat up the black panther next door for 7 days and 7 nights, but still couldn't figure out my bloodline. In a fit of rage, my dad left home and abandoned me. My mom has a younger brother, but in my opinion, this uncle of mine is a bit dumb. On the day I turned 1 month old, my tiger mom went out hunting, leaving me and my uncle, both still cubs, playing in the cave. My playful uncle fumbled his way out of the cave, and as luck would have it, a fully grown bear happened to pass by. Both are predators, so naturally the bear wouldn't pass up the chance to attack the cub of a rival. The bear roared and charged at my uncle, who was so scared he froze on the spot. Frozen in place and unable to move, my uncle was in grave danger. At the critical moment, I rushed out and dragged him back into the cave. In the end, our tiger mom returned just in time, and the two of us narrowly escaped death. If it weren't for me, tiger on the outside but human in soul, we probably would have died long ago in this perilous forest. This made me desperately want the power to protect myself. When it was time to eat, tiger mom would lie down in front of us and expose her belly. At first I was very resistant, but when the warm milk flowed into my mouth, a wave of warmth spread through my whole body, and I felt myself awaken again. So when it came to eating, I was much more enthusiastic than my mischievous uncle behind me. After a few months of growing up, I realized that I was different from other tigers. I had a huge appetite, never feeling full. I grew much faster than my tiger uncle born alongside me. By 5 months, I weighed 40 kilograms, while he was just over 20. We then started eating meat. Tasting wild boar meat, warmth surged through my body. It felt like meat made me stronger. A month later, at half a year old, tiger mom taught us hunting. Her gaze turned cold as she spotted prey, a herd of sika deer grazing ahead. She periodically checked the surroundings. I lay quietly, learning from her. Downwind, the sika deer couldn't scent us. Tiger mom signaled us to stay put. Using the terrain, she crept closer. Soon she was less than 100 meters away. As the deer relaxed, she lunged like lightning, quickly closing the gap. With one swipe, she knocked down a stag, killing it instantly. The hunt took under 30 seconds. She dragged the stag to us, licked it, then stepped back and lay down. Tiger mom fed us first. My brother, unused to the bloody taste, nuzzled for milk, but she sternly swatted him away. He walked off hurt while I devoured my share. Still hungry, I approached the remaining meat. Tiger mom growled but turned away. Taking this as permission, I ate the rest of the stag. A surge of warmth rose from my belly. I didn't know what it was, but it made me feel full of energy. Later, Tiger mom played with us in the clearing. In this way, she trained us in hunting and self-defense skills, and our days passed by both leisurely and seriously. Until one day, when the three of us, mother and her 2 cubs, returned from hunting, we heard a chilling and terrifying bitter laugh echoing through the forest. It was a strange male tiger. Mom immediately became tense, leaping to a high vantage point to observe while also scanning the surroundings. My little brother was still frozen in place, trembling with fear. Ever since the appearance of the strange male tiger, I couldn't sleep well that night, feeling for the first time a tremendous threat from the outside world. For our safety, Tiger mom began patrolling the territory for several hundred kilometers around us. This was an extremely dangerous sign. For several days in a row, Tiger mom wouldn't let us follow her on these patrols. After a few days without any sign of the strange male tiger, she finally relaxed and took us out hunting again. But then, one day, something unusual happened. While hunting, we came across a male bear weighing over 300 kilograms, but it had already been eaten down to just its skull and skeleton. Next to the corpse, there was a clear, huge tiger paw print, confirming the strength of that strange male tiger. Tiger mom nervously went up to investigate. Even if he managed to kill such a big male bear, he must have paid a heavy price and suffered serious injuries. But there were no signs of injury from that strange tiger anywhere around. My heart sank. If we ran into him, there's no way we'd survive. For our safety, Tiger mom had no choice but to lead us into an unfamiliar forest. Perhaps pressured by that male tiger, she urged us to keep moving without stopping. But the more you fear something, the more likely it is to happen. Suddenly, a loud tiger roar echoed through the woods. Tiger mom didn't dare delay. Weighed down by immense pressure, she knew something was catching up to us, most likely that unseen male tiger. All we could do now was try to put as much distance between us as possible. And so, we ran for 2 hours straight. Just as we burst out of a dense patch of grass and reached an open area, Tiger mom was the first to react, leaping 2 or 3 meters forward to shield us, while letting out an extremely fierce roar. About 200 or 300 meters ahead, a majestic, massive male tiger was already waiting for us. Judging by his size and fur, he had just reached adulthood and was in his prime, weighing at least 270 kilograms. Although Tiger mom was larger than most female tigers, she stood no chance of protecting her 2 cubs against a male of this size. She had to do something. Tiger mom let out a probing growl, hoping to scare him off, but the male tiger didn't retreat. Instead, he calmly walked toward her, as if he wanted to communicate first. 1 female, 1 male, 2 adult tigers faced off, the tension at its peak. I hid in the grass, keeping a close eye on the situation, thinking about how we could break the deadlock. The next second, the male tiger suddenly lunged at Tiger mom. Tiger mom showed no fear and charged head-on. After a brief struggle, the male tiger seized an opportunity. His immense power caused her to instantly lose her balance and fall to the ground. If she moved even a little, the male tiger's sharp fangs would snap her neck. Just as I was preparing to make a final escape with my little brother, a roar filled with furious defiance suddenly echoed from the nearby forest. It was the call of another male tiger, but to Tiger mom, it sounded like the most precious thing in the world at that moment. With the sound of rapid footsteps, an enormous Amur tiger appeared, exuding an overwhelming aura of dominance. He was even stronger and more domineering than the one who had defeated Tiger mom, his entire body radiating an uncontrollable killing intent. This was Tiger Dad. Tiger Dad was furious. How could he possibly tolerate the attacker who had harmed his mate and cubs? In the next moment, Tiger Dad narrowed his eyes, his massive body suddenly bursting with power. Like a bolt of lightning, he lunged at the unfamiliar male tiger. Watching these 2 beasts fight for their lives, I finally understood how terrifying an adult male tiger could be. Back and forth they went, both sides suffering injuries but relying on his weight and experience. Tiger Dad gradually gained the upper hand. He even blinded one of the stranger's eyes. Just as they were about to clash again, the one-eyed tiger suddenly turned and lunged toward me and Tiger Mom, swatting me aside with a single paw before fleeing down the escape route. I felt as if my whole body was about to split apart. No one expected him to run away. On the other side, Tiger Dad walked over with heavy steps and glanced at me, a trace of tenderness and guilt flashing in his eyes. If only he had killed that guy outright, his child wouldn't have had to suffer. This battle had also left Tiger Dad with some injuries, but fortunately, with a few days of rest and nourishment, he would recover. I don't know how much time passed before I woke up from unconsciousness, feeling as if my whole body was wrapped in a warm current, my wounds healing rapidly. But compared to me, Tiger Mom's condition was much more serious. For animals, it seems that severe injuries are left to fate. Tiger Mom also realized she was nearing the end. I tried to mobilize the mysterious energy within me to help her, but found I simply couldn't control it. Looking up at the surrounding forest, I suddenly thought of an idea. I looked for herbs for internal injuries, as human medicine often works for animals. It was early summer, and many plants were sprouting. Finding wild ginseng would be perfect. Dad's territory was lush, and I soon found 2 small roots. After Mom ate them, she improved. Then, Dad took my brother and me hunting. After 2 weeks, I grew stronger, faster, and more sensitive, detecting scents for 30 kilometers. Finally, I began my first solo hunt. Following the experience Tiger Dad had taught me, I picked the best hunting spot, a slightly raised hill about 10 kilometers from the cave. The view here was wide open, and the tall, dense grass made it hard to be spotted. I lay hidden in the grass, waiting as wave after wave of small animals came and went by the creek. Eventually, a group of wild boars arrived, and I made up my mind. Wild boars reproduce quickly, and except for the adult ones, I could handle the rest. There were 3 adult wild boars in this group. The first thing to do was to lure them away and wait for the wild boar herd to let their guard down. As they were drinking water, I leapt out from the grass. The adult wild boars reacted the fastest, leading the piglets as they started to run. I had already anticipated their escape route, so as my body sprang from the grass, I lunged straight at the scattering piglets. One of them tried to make a sharp turn to trick me, but having watched wildlife documentaries, how could I be fooled? The moment it turned, I seized the opportunity and bit down, catching the piglet head on as it ran into me. The taste of blood instantly spread in my mouth, and I tossed the dead prey aside. I went after a few more and ended up with quite a haul. During the hunt, I could feel changes in my muscles and bones, becoming not only tougher, but also faster, with reflexes several times quicker than other animals. These changes most likely came from the mysterious energy inside my body. If I could keep using this energy to strengthen myself, I can't even imagine how powerful and fast I'd be when I'm fully grown. Just as I was carrying a piglet back, a strange scent suddenly drifted from the grass ahead. There were quite a few of them. Moments later, several grey wolves burst out. The leading wolf king was a bit smaller than me, but there were many of them, including some wolf pups and grey wolves. Why would they move their whole family into tiger territory? I was a bit puzzled, but not afraid. The grey wolf king at the front was the first to howl a warning at the sky. I didn't want to bother with them, but this was my father the tiger's territory, and they had barged in with their whole family. As the young master here, I had a duty to help my father teach these intruders a lesson. Immediately, a deep tiger roar thundered toward the wolf pack. The lead wolf instinctively felt a bit of fear, but seeing that I was still young and eyeing the prey in my mouth, he instantly cast aside his fear, bared his fangs, and looked ready to fight to the death. I wasn't about to go easy on them either. I put the 2 prey down on the ground, pinned one with my tiger paw, and then, under the fierce glares of the wolf pack, began to tear into and devour the 2 piglets. I could have finished them in just a few bites, but I deliberately tore at them slowly right in front of the wolves, fully provoking them. The lead wolf was clearly flustered. If he didn't do something, his followers might start to waver. He gave an order, and the other grey wolves no longer hesitated. Several female wolves guarded the pups from a distance, while the rest spread out and surrounded me. A battle between tiger and wolves was about to erupt. My tiger eyes narrowed, and I charged straight at the lead wolf. The wolf pack hadn't expected me to make the first move. By the time they reacted, I had already sent the lead wolf flying with a single swipe. The wolves behind caught up and bit at my hindquarters, leaving several wounds on my body, which instantly awakened my beastly instincts. I instinctively grabbed hold of one. I bit down hard on the neck of the grey wolf attacking me, and with a crunch, I snapped its neck. Suddenly, I felt a surge of powerful energy erupt within me, and my strength instantly increased by a whole level. The wolf pack was terrified. They had never seen such a ferocious tiger cub before, and immediately scattered in all directions. I returned to the cave, tossed the grey wolf carcass from my mouth onto the ground, and let out a triumphant roar laugh to Tiger Dad and Tiger Mom, telling them what had happened. As soon as Tiger Dad heard, he leapt out in a single bound. As the master of this territory, he could not tolerate his child being bullied. Watching Tiger Dad's departing figure, I felt a warm sense of comfort inside. Tiger brother just couldn't figure it out. Why, when we're both tiger cubs, are you so outstanding? About an hour later, Tiger Dad returned, bringing back several wolf king carcasses. For now, with Tiger Dad around, we have no worries about food or clothing, but these good days won't last long. The Siberian tiger is a solitary hunter and a king at the top of the food chain. Even our mother, who raised us, will not hesitate to drive us away once we reach adulthood. As evening fell, and Tiger Dad and Tiger Mom gradually drifted off to sleep, I quietly slipped out of the cave. The next moment, little tiger brother followed me out as well. As we walked, we reached an open patch of grass when suddenly a strange cry rang out. Up ahead, a boot was catching a snow hare. Normally, there shouldn't be giant finned grey wolves, predators like that, within a tiger's territory, but we've encountered them several times in just a few days. Could something have changed in the forest? Maybe it's time to remind Tiger Dad to patrol the territory. Back at the cave, Tiger Dad sniffed the tough fur I brought back and immediately flew into a rage. Gone was his previous laziness, he became imposing and full of authority and couldn't wait to go patrol the territory. After thinking for a moment, I decided to follow him. Little tiger brother, already quite tired, forced himself to keep up. Tiger Dad's territory is vast. It would take at least 10 days or half a month to patrol the whole area. Watching Tiger Dad stride leisurely and confidently through the jungle showed me what true kingly presence is. Tiger Dad marked his territory by spraying urine on thick tree trunks, warning intruders that this land is claimed. In this way, we walked along the edge of the territory until afternoon. Tiger Dad was getting tired too, and had just found a shady spot to lie down and rest when a powerful roar suddenly came from ahead. Tiger Dad gazed intently forward, as if he sensed something, and stood up. The next moment, a medium-sized leopard with spotted fur appeared. 6 tiger eyes stared at the leopard, and the leopard clearly panicked, turning around and letting out a short warning call to those behind it. The atmosphere was tense. Leopards are usually social animals, and before long, 5 more arrived. They seemed to think that their numbers would be enough to intimidate Tiger Dad, but they underestimated his determination to defend his territory. They also made a fatal mistake. Never try to provoke a father with his child. Tiger Dad would never back down, even if only to maintain his image in front of his cub. With a roar, Tiger Dad charged straight at the 5 leopards. He didn't attack immediately, because Tiger Brother and I were his weak spots. The leopards on the other side seemed to notice this too, and their previously faltering morale grew a bit stronger. I finally understood what it means when they say, a newborn calf is not afraid of a tiger. Tiger Dad didn't take the initiative to attack, making the leopards underestimate him. I could see clearly he could handle 5 opponents. He only held back to protect us. I let out a fierce roar toward the sky, shielding Tiger Brother. This sudden change startled the 5 leopards. They didn't expect a fierce cub. Tiger Dad seemed to understand my intention. He lunged like the wind, grabbed the nearest leopard, and instantly entered battle mode. Even I felt a chilling sense of oppression from that aura. The 5 leopards were even more shocked and terrified. In just one encounter, Tiger Dad swatted one leopard away and bit another's hind leg. The remaining leopards were so frightened that they roared and fled without daring to linger. Tiger Dad hesitated for a moment and didn't give chase. Instead, he walked over, rubbed against my fur, and licked Tiger Brother's forehead. It was clear that Tiger Dad was very pleased with my performance. After all, like father, like son, my actions just now made him very proud. Then, Tiger Dad grabbed the leopard's corpse and sprinted toward the edge of the territory, marking it with his urine. This is the most effective deterrent for intruders. After more than 10 minutes, Tiger Dad returned with his strong, steady stride. He also had several prey animals with broken necks in his mouth. Clearly, it was time to enjoy the spoils of victory. Tiger Dad picked a fat one to eat, while I took Tiger Brother to choose a smaller elk. In the glow of the setting sun, the shadows of the 3 tigers, father and sons, stretched long across the ground, as if foreshadowing the rise of a powerful and youthful Amur tiger family. Today's encounter with the 5 young leopards made me understand even more deeply the law of the jungle. The strong rule and the weak are prey. The carefree life I enjoy now is all thanks to Tiger Dad's protection, but one day I'll have to leave. I must improve my strength as soon as possible. After another night, Tiger Dad took us to continue patrolling the territory. Along the way, boundary damage was minor, but over 20 intrusions were visible along the territory edges. This worried me. Neighboring shifts likely forced this migration. We headed toward Tiger Dad's cave. After a few days away, I felt like a traveler returning home. Back at the den, Tiger Dad dropped a Sika deer before Tiger Mom, trying to please her. I knew that with the territory safe, Tiger Mom would take us back to our own home. But without Tiger Dad, I feared finding enough food would be difficult for Tiger Brother and me. It was time to go out and hone my hunting skills on my own. In my previous life as a fishing enthusiast, I knew very well the importance of baiting a spot. The most common animal in this territory is the wild boar. When dealing with these plentiful, meaty, and not so bright creatures, baiting is the simplest and most effective method. I dug up 20 or 30 pounds of roots and tubers and piled them in one spot, then lay quietly in the jungle, waiting. In my past life I was human, now I am a tiger. Using intelligence is what makes a Siberian tiger truly fearsome. Before long, a group of wild boars, led by a boar, timidly approached the bait. They didn't hesitate and started munching away noisily. I locked onto a target, crawled quickly to get close enough, and then suddenly burst out from my hiding place, chasing after a wild boar weighing about 50 or 60 pounds. This wild boar, unable to outrun me, used feints. Its first fake move nearly tripped me up. By the time I recovered, it had gained distance. Normally, Siberian tigers would abandon such prey, but my mysterious energy allows for endless stamina. With a roar, I sped up and finally caught it after a long chase. When I returned, Tiger Dad and Mom were asleep. The next day, Tiger Mom took us away, while Tiger Dad stayed inside and didn't see us off. To him, this was probably just a small episode in the long roar of a tiger's life. But as soon as we stepped into Tiger Mom's territory, something unexpected happened. There was a trail of messy tracks on the ground. Another tigress with 3 cubs. Tiger Mom wandered through the mountains and forests, letting out a series of roars, exuding a murderous aura. Her eyes could tolerate nothing else. She only wanted to find the intruder. Although both were tigresses raising cubs, Tiger Mom had no sense of mercy. About a dozen kilometers from the den, we found more tracks left by that tigress, as well as the carcass of an adult stag. Tiger Mom was extremely angry. It was as if a stranger had broken into your home, not only making a mess but also leaving behind a pile of stinking garbage. As she walked, she roared furiously, like a middle-aged woman scolding in the street. As night fell, Tiger Mom stopped roaring and found a high vantage point to quietly observe her surroundings. She perked up her ears to listen, and suddenly her gaze sharpened as she walked in a certain direction. Suddenly, I seemed to hear a faint tiger's roar. Down the hillside 200 or 300 meters ahead, a slightly thin tigress was staring at us. The 2 tigresses locked eyes in an instant. Tiger Mom let out a series of roars, and the tigress opposite was not to be outdone. The 2 tigers confronted each other. There was nothing more to say. They started fighting right away, just like 2 ordinary house cats brawling, swiping their claws at each other and biting as they rolled on the ground. Although the scene wasn't as imposing as a fight between male tigers, it was just as bloody and brutal. Before long, both tigresses were injured, and the intruder was clearly losing ground. Compared to Tiger Mom's physique, she was at a significant disadvantage. Even though she fought with all her might, she couldn't turn the tide. Tiger Mom knocked her to the ground with a single swipe and bit down hard with her jaws. Seeing their mother defeated, the 3 cubs hiding behind couldn't help but rush out. They rushed to their mother's side, letting out immature tiger roars, trying their best to appear fierce, hoping to scare Tiger Mom. Perhaps moved by the cubs' actions, Tiger Mom, who had gained the upper hand, did not continue her attack. After After all creatures have feelings, especially mothers. After a while, the tigress lying on the ground regained some strength and struggled to stand up, supporting herself with her paws. Tiger Mom thought she was still unwilling to give up, and her gaze turned sharp again, ready to attack once more. But the intruder seemed to know what would happen if she resisted, and under Tiger Mom's watchful eyes, she actually lay down submissively. Tiger Mom's expression relaxed. Since the other party had set aside her pride as a ruler, Tiger Mom would not deal a fatal blow to her or her cubs, but driving them out of her own territory was inevitable. Tiger Mom only relaxed after personally watching the other tigress leave her territory. What happened today made Tiger Mom extremely vigilant. This invading tigress had either lost her territory in a fight, or something had happened to the male tiger. It would be very difficult for her to raise 3 cubs on her own. Even if Tiger Mom showed mercy, they wouldn't last more than a few days. From now on, apart from accompanying Tiger Mom on her patrols, I would just wait for her to bring back food, so long as we could make it through this winter. By next year, I'll be a real tiger. Every night, I'd sneak out to exercise, like my old night and morning runs, and climb trees to build explosive power. I'd eat any wild ginseng I found along the way. I often drag my brother along too. Once, at the edge of Mom's territory, a silhouette approached. It was Tiger Dad, visiting from his own territory, as he nuzzled me affectionately. I noticed claw scars on his chest and ribs, likely from another male. Tiger Dad said the neighboring male had been killed and replaced by a new rival. This explained the earlier animal stampede. The female intruder likely lost her mate and home, which is why she sought food here. Tiger Dad had already fought the newcomer and, after negotiating, rushed back, fearing the newcomer might attack us. After all, Tiger Mom couldn't defeat a male tiger alone. Dad took us on a patrol around Tiger Mom's territory. He gave Tiger Mom a lot of instructions, such as if she encountered the newcomer while he was away, she should escape immediately. When we reached the edge of Tiger Mom's territory, Tiger Dad patrolled along the border, wary of that formidable opponent. But after crossing a slope, we quickly noticed something unusual: a nearly decomposed Ama tiger cub. The corpse seemed to belong to the cub of the female tiger that had invaded earlier. Even powerful Ama tigers have moments of weakness and helplessness. With one cub dead, things didn't look good for that female tiger and her remaining cubs. Tiger Dad endured the stench and searched the area. The next moment, another equally imposing figure appeared in the forest, 2 kilometers away. The 2 tigers locked eyes from a distance. Tiger Dad immediately let out a warning roar toward the far-off rival. That male tiger had a long scar running from his forehead down to his nose. It seemed Tiger Dad had fought with him before. Though he hadn't won, he hadn't lost either. The territorial tiger across from us glanced at our family, then turned and walked back into the forest with an indifferent expression, clearly signaling a desire to keep to his own territory. After finishing the patrol along the territory's edge, the atmosphere on the way back was a bit heavy, perhaps due to the pressure from the neighboring tiger. Tiger Dad began to ponder. It turned out that the tiger on that patch of land used to be an older tiger, who wouldn't easily clash with the younger Tiger Dad. But the new owner increased the pressure on Tiger Mom. Tiger Dad had no solution. Since the rival hadn't attacked, he saw no reason to seek trouble. Returning to the cave, I heard something trampling nearby grass. Tiger Dad and Mom didn't notice. Feeling stronger lately, I wanted to test myself. I took Tiger Brother along. Being near home, it seemed safe. Following the faint sound, I led him until we were close enough to feed. I pushed off hard with my legs and lunged toward the patch of grass where the sound was coming from. I felt myself grab hold of a furry prey beneath me. It was actually quite large. When I looked down, I was stunned. It was a skinny little tiger, the same one that had followed its mother into our territory a few days ago. I had no idea how it had come back here again. Tiger Brother didn't think much of it. In his eyes, this little tiger was an intruder, and he wanted to do what Tiger Mom did, bite its neck and kill it in one go. But I reacted quickly and stopped Tiger Brother. Suddenly, a special idea popped into my mind. I pulled Tiger Brother back with me until we disappeared from the little tiger's sight. A few hundred meters behind the little tiger, inside a cave made of rocks, there was another equally skinny little white tiger. Next to them lay their mother, already dead. In less than 2 weeks, the once mighty king of beasts, their family was in ruins. Glancing at the jungle, I decided to help these 2 cubs who invaded our territory. After all, despite my tiger body, I was still human. Whether they survived or were killed if Tiger Mom found them, I'd leave to fate. Tiger Brother was frightened and unsure if he should tell our parents. Back at the cave, he didn't tattle, but just sulked in a corner. He couldn't understand why I helped the intruders. At dawn, Tiger Dad prepared to head back. He also had his own territory to protect. In the days that followed, I practiced relentlessly every day. Gradually, I was even able to hunt some larger animals on my own. With the mysterious energy inside me, plus occasionally chewing on a few slices of wild ginseng, my body was becoming stronger and stronger. When it came to hunting and survival, I felt there was still so much for me to learn. I possessed human intelligence and ways of thinking, as well as the powerful physique of a Siberian tiger. If I could combine the two, then a Siberian tiger with human wisdom and a strong, fierce body should be able to stand at the very top of this forest. During this time, the food Tiger Mom gave me, along with what I caught myself, I'd secretly toss food to those 2 cubs behind their mother's back. Troublingly, hunting skills are usually passed down from parents, and soon, these cubs would have to learn. This responsibility fell on my shoulders. Feeding and training these orphans became my daily life. After a period of training and practical experience, my demeanor underwent a dramatic transformation. My size now looked almost the same as Tiger Mom's. Precisely because of this, I noticed that the way I was treated was getting worse and worse. Not only was I getting less and less of the food Tiger Mom brought back each time, but I would also occasionally get scolded by her during hunts, and sometimes she would even roar at me as a warning, making her intentions very clear. I understood in my heart that Tiger Mom now saw me as a grown child. After all, as tigers grow up, their territorial instincts gradually become stronger, especially with my rapidly increasing appetite during this period. This made Tiger Mom feel threatened. Although I was not yet old enough to leave my mother and live independently, I was already showing tendencies to compete with her for territory and resources. This was also why Tiger Mom's attitude toward me was getting worse. Maybe after this winter, I would be ruthlessly driven away by her. This is a natural rule that Amur tigers have followed for millions of years to ensure their survival. Even if I went hunting in Tiger Dad's territory, I would need his approval. Otherwise, I would be considered an intruder. Even if I were his own son, Tiger Dad would show no mercy. The time is almost here, so when Tiger Dad comes to visit us, I plan to talk to him about this issue. After all, there were already very few small prey left in Tiger Mom's territory, so whenever I went out hunting alone afterward, I sensibly ran to places more than 30 kilometers away from the den. Unexpectedly, danger followed. As I was dragging the carcass of a moose back, the bloody scent scattered along the way was carried by the wind in all directions, and a huge black bear caught the scent and started chasing after me. As luck would have it, it was the same one that Tiger Dad had taught a lesson to before. This creature was definitely not something I could mess with at my current strength, but looking at the prey I had worked so hard for hours to catch, I really couldn't bear to just give it up. Seeing the black bear getting closer and closer, I panicked, let go of the prey I was biting, and charged toward the direction the black bear was coming from. I let out a roar, and perhaps because it was intimidated by my tiger's roar, plus my body size was close to that of an adult tiger, the black bear actually stopped in its tracks. But I made a big mistake. After intimidating the black bear, I picked up my prey and continued walking. This action instead piqued the black bear's curiosity. After all, what kind of tiger would fear a black bear and abandon food on its own territory? Noticing this, the black bear concluded that the Amur tiger in front of it was somewhat timid, most likely just newly grown. Faced with such a large meal, the black bear eventually chased after me again. When I looked back, I was stunned. The black bear that had hesitated just moments ago actually stood up and howled at me. Provocation. This was blatant provocation. I let go of my prey, and without hesitation, roared back in response. This was a matter of dignity for a future king, but by doing so, I only made the black bear more certain that I was just a newly adult, inexperienced tiger. In its eyes, this was a heaven-sent opportunity. I, however, was not afraid at all. All the muscles in my body instantly burst forth with tremendous power as I lunged at the black bear to bite it. Although I managed to bite its side, I also took a swipe from its paw. I wasn't injured, but the pain only further stimulated the black bear's nerves, unleashing its fighting instincts completely. I kept dodging while counterattacking the black bear, but its defense was incredibly high. Next, I ignored my injuries and started trading blows. The mysterious energy within me stirred. The more I fought, the braver I became, overwhelming the bear until it turned and ran. For the first time, I won alone against a grown black bear. This made me elite for my age. It took over 2 hours. Only then did I drag my prey to a flat area. With the food, I felt the energy within my body become much more substantial. Carrying the remaining food, I headed toward the 2 orphaned tigers. Since the tigress had shown signs of distancing herself, I started to pay special attention to feeding them. After a month or two, these 2 orphans no longer harbored any hostility toward me or my little brother. After all, Amur tigers are intelligent creatures. If I could win them over and train them to be loyal subordinates, then in the future, the strongest king in history would be born. A team of 4 adult tigers would be unstoppable. Dragging the food, I arrived at the cave where the orphans lived. This time I put down the food and didn't leave immediately. I planned to test them. If they still showed hostility toward me, I might not keep them around any longer. I had deliberately come here covered in wounds, precisely for this moment. Even if they tried to attack me while I was injured, I could easily handle them. When the 2 young tigers saw the food at the entrance of the cave and noticed my injured state not far away, they ignored the food and came straight to me, letting out anxious roars. One of them even kept licking my wounds with its tongue. Feeling the actions of these 2 little ones, I knew that my efforts in feeding them hadn't been wasted. Then, pretending to use all my strength, I pushed them toward the food. These 2 simple-minded, naive little tigers. They had never experienced the dangers of the world. Seeing me so badly injured and still worrying about them, they immediately lowered their heads and rubbed against me, completely innocent. Gaining their affection and trust was incredibly easy. As long as I could provide enough food to raise them, my plan to form the strongest Siberian tiger team in the future might actually come true. I kept pushing them toward the food, and only then did the 2 little ones start tearing into the prey and eating. To tell them apart more easily, I named them Tiger 1 and Tiger 2. Now, even after fighting with all my might, I could only injure the black bear. I still couldn't kill it like an adult tiger could. This also meant that, aside from not being able to provoke large predators, I could now face off directly against medium-sized hunters like leopards. Just then, Tiger 3 came running over with a piece of meat in its mouth. The way Tiger 1 and Tiger 2 looked at Tiger 3 wasn't exactly hostile, but it wasn't particularly friendly either. I immediately decided to have the little ones train together to build team spirit and prevent any future infighting. I called the 3 cubs to a secluded canyon in the forest and began their first official training session. We didn't stop until nightfall, when they were all exhausted and collapsed from fatigue. No longer eating Tiger Mom's food, I still checked the den every few days to monitor her movements, fearing she might find Tiger 1 and 2. I secretly followed her hunts to learn. As weather cooled, prey became scarce. Once, Tiger Mom and I targeted the same prey, but I yielded since she was still queen here. I then decided to risk hunting in Tiger Dad's territory. Before leaving, I told Tiger 3 to guard Tiger 1 and 2. Given the temperament of Siberian tigers, if Tiger Mom found out about their existence, she would definitely kill them without hesitation. After running intermittently for half a month, I finally reached Tiger Dad's territory. Just as I had guessed, Tiger Dad's territory was rich in resources. Herbivores like wild boars and sika deer could still be seen frequently. After spending more than 2 hours, I finally managed to stake out a group of wild boars. There was no technique involved, only an explosive burst of strength. Now my explosive power is enough to overpower any wild boar. Out of the 2 wild boars, I ate one and deliberately left the other behind as a gift for Tiger Dad, the intruder's offering. As night began to fall, I entered the mountain where Tiger Dad's cave was located. Before I even got close, I sensed something unusual in the surrounding grass. It was far too quiet. I let out a loud tiger roar toward the valley ahead. Soon after, Tiger Dad, who had been hiding in the grass, slowly revealed himself. I thought if I barged in recklessly, I'd probably get a good beating. After all, I'm a tiger now too, and to Tiger Dad, I already pose a certain threat. Maybe it was the familiar scent that confused him a bit. A cub he hadn't seen for a month or two had now grown to nearly the size of an adult tiger. Any father would be a little bewildered. I could clearly see the wariness in Tiger Dad's eyes and couldn't help but sigh. Then, I slowly lowered my head and backed away, leaving the wild boar I'd brought as a gesture to show I meant no harm. Tiger Dad stepped forward to sniff the prey I'd brought, hesitating a little, his gaze shifting back and forth between the prey and me. I waited quietly, not in any hurry. After all, it's not uncommon among Amur tigers for sons to kill their fathers and take over their territory. After nearly an hour of stalemate, Tiger Dad finally made a decision. He walked forward a few steps, rubbed against my fur, then let out a low growl and turned away with the wild boar I had brought. Although Tiger Dad was no longer as affectionate toward me as before, he still allowed me to hunt temporarily within his territory. Tiger Dad's reaction was both expected and unexpected. I had thought I might be ruthlessly driven away or taught a harsh lesson, but he still left me a bit of leeway. Perhaps this compromise also carried Tiger Dad's last bit of fatherly love for me, but I understood that becoming stronger was absolutely the right thing to do. Even if it meant being distanced from my parents, I would never regret it. As I stumbled along through Tiger Dad's territory, at that moment, I felt a sense of loneliness. Maybe every Amur tiger has experienced such a moment. Without the support of their parents, their world becomes even broader. With Tiger Dad's permission, I could ensure I wouldn't starve when winter came, and with that goal achieved, I planned to head back. After walking some distance, I suddenly came across the corpse of a leopard in a clearing ahead. A strong sense of unease compelled me to immediately turn around and sprint off in another direction. Although I'm not superstitious, I still followed my instincts, quickly passing through this overlapping area and entering Tiger Mom's. Just as I entered Tiger Mom's territory, a sudden chill shot up my spine. A male tiger was staring at me with a cold, indifferent gaze. My body trembled, but I forced myself to stop. He had been stealthily tracking my trail all along. I was filled with fear. If I had been even a bit slower, I might have ended up as a corpse. Faced with the deathly indifference of this blind Yan tiger, I did not back down. I stood across from him, meeting his gaze and silently taking note of the danger. When I come of age, I will definitely avenge today's humiliation. But just as I managed to calm myself, a new wave of unease suddenly rose within me. Then, an angry tiger's roar echoed through the forest. The direction was exactly where Tiger 1 and Tiger 2 had been hiding earlier. Damn it! I was startled and immediately sprinted toward the cave as fast as I could. At that moment, the ground in front of the cave was trembling. Blocking Tiger Mom's way was Tiger Brother, his fur standing on end. No matter how fiercely Tiger Mom roared, Tiger Brother stubbornly stood his ground and refused to move. This little guy remembered the instructions I gave him before I left, and for the first time he roared back at Tiger Mom. Tiger Mom was stunned when she heard this not-so-loud roar. She couldn't believe that her own cub would act this way. In her eyes, this was nothing short of disgraceful. So faced with her son repeatedly blocking her, Tiger Mom became furious. She raised her powerful paw and swatted Tiger Brother, sending him flying 10 meters away. Step by step, Tiger Mom approached Tiger 1 and Tiger 2. At this critical moment, I arrived just in time and stood opposite Tiger Mom. The first thing I did was let out a warning roar. Unless absolutely necessary, I didn't want to fight my own mother. But Tiger Mom completely ignored my warning and bit down on my shoulder. I didn't resist her attack. Perhaps the scent of blood triggered something in her, and the furious look on her face gradually softened. After all, even a vicious tiger won't eat her own cubs. She still cared about her last remaining family. She just couldn't understand why her son would help the offspring of an intruder. Tiger Mom's expression kept changing, and in the end, she seemed to make up her mind. She let out a loud, resonant roar as a final farewell, then walked away without looking back. Tiger Brother seemed to realize something and ran after her, only to be kicked away by Tiger Mom again. Watching this scene, I felt a bit lost inside. My brother and I had been mercilessly driven away by our mother. Although I had imagined that one day we might be expelled, I never thought it would happen so soon. But for the sake of my future plans, I had no choice but to keep Tiger 1 and Tiger 2 safe. As long as we can make it through this winter, I will become the absolute ruler of this mountain forest in the future. We can't stay here any longer. We must quickly find a safe place to settle down, somewhere close to our parents' territory, but far from that blind tiger. After 2 hours, I led the 3 little ones to a temporary shelter. It's close to a water source and has a natural stone cave. Maybe he still hasn't adjusted, but Tiger Brother's eyes are still filled with confusion even now. But I didn't go over to comfort him. Every Amur tiger has its own path to walk, but I want Tiger Brother to have a roar that's different from the rest. Now, with 3 tiger cubs to feed every day, I have to make sure I catch prey that's heavy enough to satisfy them all. In addition, teaching the 3 little tigers hunting skills has also fallen to me. After a short rest, I set out with the 3 cubs. However, just as we reached the edge of our mother's territory, a sudden commotion erupted in the forest. I hurried the 3 little ones to hide in the grass. Before long, a pack of migrating grey wolves appeared. More than 20 of them, big and small. Although they aren't very large, there are a lot of them. I don't know where this pack of wolves is headed, so for the safety of the 3 little ones, I decided to wait. But plans can't keep up with changes. 2 or 3 grey wolves were unconsciously heading in the direction where we were hiding. Maybe the pack intended to rest here, and as predators, they naturally wanted to check all the places where an ambush could be set. I signaled to the 3 little ones to stay as quiet as possible. After glancing around at our surroundings, I came up with an emergency plan. If we were discovered by the wolves, I'd have the cubs climb up a tall tree. With that worry out of the way, even if I had to face more than a dozen adult grey wolves, I wouldn't be afraid at all. A few wolves took a few steps forward, then suddenly stopped, as if they had caught a scent that terrified them. Their limbs began to tremble uncontrollably. Seeing this, I knew then that we could no longer stay hidden. Before the grey wolves could start howling, I took the initiative and launched an attack. Since we'd been discovered as a Siberian tiger, I had to strike first. The grey wolves immediately let out a series of howls, then quickly banded together to defend themselves. Relying on their numbers, they kept issuing warning calls, trying to scare me off. I let out a loud, deep tiger roar, except for the lead wolf, who remained relatively calm. The other grey wolves were clearly panicked. The lead wolf bared its teeth, showing no intention of backing down. Unfortunately for it, this wolf could never have imagined that I was a Siberian tiger with a human soul, and I would never play by the usual rules. I charged straight into the wolf pack and attacked the lead wolf, swatting it away with a single paw. Then I stopped, since I didn't want to be surrounded and attacked by the whole pack. Seeing this, the grey wolves no longer dared to stay. They tucked their tails and scattered in all directions. The three little ones who had been waiting in the tree slid down from the trunk. In their eyes, I was even braver than an adult tiger, and their gazes were filled with admiration. I let out a low growl, keeping my eyes fixed on the direction the grey wolves had fled. For some reason, a sense of danger welled up in my heart again. Ever since migrating to this hellish place, I noticed that there were an unusually large number of predators and prey around. I decided to take the initiative, imitating what my parents used to do, and patrol this small area, driving away the medium and small predators that competed with me for food resources. After returning to the cave and resting for a while to recover my energy, I looked at this territory that didn't yet belong to me. Ambition surged in my heart. From now on, I would start paving the way for my future as a king. Calling out to the three little ones to follow me, I officially set out on my patrol. Although my intimidation isn't as strong as an adult tiger's, today I was determined to drive those hunters away and show my own tiger might. Doing this might very well annoy my parents, but I don't really care anymore. After all, once this winter is over, there won't be a place for me in this territory anyway. Patrolling the territory again today, I experienced something I never had before. Maybe my roar was just too loud, because I even startled my parents, who were honeymooning in the distance on my father's territory. My father seemed to understand what I was doing, and let out a roar of his own to express his displeasure. I didn't take his warning to heart. After all, I'm his son too. As long as I don't cross any real lines, he won't do anything to me. Besides, my father is a honeymooning male right now. He doesn't have time to worry about these things. For him, breeding is the top priority. In fact, when my father let out his warning, I even had the urge to roar back at him. At that moment, I kind of understood why Amur tigers drive out their nearly grown cubs. Definitely rebellious offspring. Although my size is already close to that of an adult tiger, there are always some animals that aren't afraid. Not far away, on a small hill, two leopards sat together, watching me patrol from a distance and studying me closely for a while. I quickly recognized that these two leopards were enemies. Previously, when my father led my brother and me on patrol, he killed a leopard, who turned out to be the brother of these two in front of me. Perhaps after being tempered by the wilderness, the aura of these two brothers has changed. Their demeanor had changed a lot, perhaps also because of my father's intimidating presence. They didn't immediately rush down to attack me, but I still underestimated the hatred they held for my family. As dusk fell, and I was leading my three little tiger brothers back to the cave, those two leopards slowly emerged from the forest and blocked my path.